The Dragonflight dungeon Halls of Infusion is now part of the Season 2 Mythic Plus pool. My name is Naguura, and in this video I will go over the most important mechanics to watch out for in this dungeon. At the beginning you will encounter Primalist Ravagers and Geomancers, Rafty Defenders and Containment Apparatuses. The apparatus seems to be one of the most dangerous enemies because it continuously casts Containment Beam onto random players. This cast does heavy damage and can only be disrupted. Additionally, it also casts Expulse, which is a heavy AoE damage ability that should be interrupted. A good strategy would be to avoid pulling too many apparatuses simultaneously and focusing them down quickly if you do. Outside of the apparatuses, you should also try to interrupt the defender's demoralizing shout. It will reduce your group's damage done by 25% if not interrupted. Moving into the first room, you can either go left or right. Both paths will lead to the first boss, but you unlock different perks depending on which path you choose to clear. If you go left, you will reach a limited immortality device, usable by Dragonflight engineers with skill 25 or higher. Activating this will give everyone in your group a 1-hour buff, preventing one death, similar to a Rogue's Cheat death ability. If you go right instead, you will clear the path for a shortcut that opens up later after you kill the second boss. And the second shortcut will open in the same area once you kill the third boss. But before you can make use of these shortcuts, you have to defeat Watcher Irideus. During the first phase of this encounter, 3 players in your group will occasionally be debuffed by Power Overload, a magic debuff taking for nature damage and leaving behind a puddle underneath the player on removal or expiration. It might be best to have the 3 debuffed players stack up and then either mass dispel the debuffs or dispel none of them to make sure the puddles all spawn simultaneously and on the same location to lessen the area of denial. The boss will also cast Static Surge, a heavy, unavoidable AoE damage channel on the group. Tanks additionally have to watch out for a frontal attack, doing damage and standing in a cone in front of Watcher Irideus. Once the boss reaches 15% health, he will become immune to damage and siphon power from the facility itself, increasing his nature damage done by 2% every 1 second until cancelled. To interrupt his cast, you have to kill 3 of the 4 nullification devices close to the boss. They will explode and remove his barrier. In phase 2, the Power Overload debuffs will do increased damage and also drop bigger puddles, so watch out for that. After you have defeated Watcher Irideus, you can choose to either go straight forward, or you can take the stairs to a different area. Both paths will ultimately lead to the same location. If you decide to go straight, you will see some Primalist Shock Troopers first. Make sure you interrupt their Elemental Focus cast, otherwise you will gain an instant chain lightning ability doing a lot of unpreventable damage to the group. The Dazzling Dragonflies cast a Frontal Disorient. This can either be interrupted, sidestepped even by the tank, or magic dispelled if anyone gets hit by it. Additionally, there are Skulking Zealots patrolling this area in stealth, so watch out for them. Once you cleared all the trash in the room, the door behind you will close and a small event starts. Waves of curious Swoglets will spawn and randomly fixate players. If they successfully melee attack a player, they will stack up a poison debuff, instantly killing the player if it stacks up to 10. After the event, the door will open and you can clear the path to the 2 mini-bosses Flamecaller Amy and Squallbringer Cyrus. If you decided to take the other path after the first boss instead, you will encounter the same type of mobs, but there won't be a Swoglet event, and additionally you will be able to access infused mushrooms. Any player with Dragonflight Herbalism skill 25 or above can activate the mushrooms, giving everyone in your party a 30-minute buff, curing 1 poison or disease effect every 15 seconds. This might be useful for the next boss coming up if you don't have anyone in your group to dispel poison effects. Both paths now lead to the mini-bosses. The more dangerous of the 2 is Flamecaller Amy. She occasionally roots a random player with a magic dispellable debuff and then spawns a big swirly underneath that player you have to move out of. Once she is low health, she will attempt to cast Cauterize, healing her if not interrupted. Squallbringer Cyrus, on the other hand, will spawn several small Zephyrlings, but they don't do anything other than attacking their aggro target. He will also sometimes cast a whirlwind around him to move away from him to avoid damage. Once you finish off the mini-bosses, the door to the next boss will open. The Gulping Goliath will spawn swoglets on players' locations. They will fixate players and apply the same poison debuff as the trash mobs before. So watch out to not reach 10 applications or you will instantly die. Once in a while the boss will cast Gulp. It's an AoE damage ability indicated by a circle around the boss. Any swoglets inside the circle will be destroyed, and any player in the circle will take damage and gain 3 poison applications. If no player is hit by Gulp, the boss will enrage. Once the Gulping Goliath is defeated, you can make your way to the third boss. Here you will encounter Primalist Gale Singers, Ice Callers, and Earth Shakers, as well as Glacial Proto-Dragons. Gale Singers will occasionally spawn a thunderstorm underneath a player. Glacial Proto-Dragons cast a frontal breath towards the tank, and they also apply a magic debuff to the whole group, slowing and dealing damage to players. Ice Callers cast a heal and it can only be disrupted, so be ready for that. Up next is Khajin the Unyielding. One of her main abilities is Hailstorm. To avoid the damage, you will have to hide behind one of the ice blocks located around the room. The ice blocks crack if they get hit by any of her abilities, including Hailstorm, and if a cracked ice block gets hit again, they will get destroyed and do AoE damage around them. To not get damaged by a dying ice block, you should make sure you are hiding behind a fully intact block. Keep in mind some of the blocks are already cracked as you start the encounter. Additionally, she will cast Glacial Surge, creating rings of frost moving outward, starting around the boss. Similar to Kuro Grimtotem's ability in Vault of the Incarnates. Once in a while, a player will be targeted by Frost Cyclone, indicated by an arrow on the floor. Make sure to move out of it and keep in mind any ice blocks hit by the cyclone will either get cracked or be destroyed. Once you defeat Khajin, you can move onto the bridge leading to the last boss, Primal Tsunami. You will encounter some enemies you've already seen before, and additionally there are Aqua Ragers, continuously spawning until you defeat Infuser Saria at the end of the bridge. Aqua Ragers cast an Enrage, but it can be interrupted or soothed, and at 20% health they will attempt to split into 4 smaller mobs. This can also be interrupted. While on the bridge, you continuously have to dodge circular water waves coming from either the left or the right. If you get hit, you get knocked and take damage. You can line of sight these circles by standing really close to the pillars on the opposite side of where they are coming from. Infuser Saria will be attackable once you kill the last 4 Aqua Ragers standing at the end of the bridge. Watch out for her Aqua Barrier. Interrupt this cast to make sure she doesn't shield herself. Now you can start to fight against the Primal Tsunami. In phase 1 you have to dodge a lot of swirlies and moving water bubbles while the tank has to watch out for Squall Buffet, a tank attack that knocks you back. At 100 energy the boss becomes immune and players are thrown away to one of 3 bridges. The tank and the healer both get paired with 1 damage dealer each, and the 3rd damage dealer gets sent by themselves. Everyone has to attempt to run back towards the boss while dodging waves and water bubbles. Back in the boss room, there are now 4 Primalist Infusers channeling Infuse. This gives the boss a stacking damage increase. If the Infuses are interrupted, they instead start attacking the players and cast Inundate, an AoE damage cast similar to Infuser Saria. This cast can be disrupted. Once the Infusers are dead, you can finish off the Primal Tsunami to end the dungeon and collect your loot. We hope you have enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other Mythic Plus guides. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in Season 2.